So I'm not going to praise it and say it's great, but it's a fun little watch.
Heart. So.
All right, so David, tell us about a great movie.
I will shut up, John.
How about by Edgar Wright?
So before we get into that, John, what do you think about Edgar Wright?
I like Edgar Wright. I think he whines a little bit.
What?
With Ant-Man and stuff. Ooh, but I know. Seriously, I like Edgar Wright. I like him a lot. I love...
I'm kind of annoyed with that is because he's promoting Baby Driver and they won't shut the fuck up about Ant-Man.
Yeah, they keep asking about it. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm like, why are you asking about it? And the reason they're asking about it is because Phil Lord and Chris Miller got fired.
Yeah.
And he's friends with those guys and... So, yeah.
I like Edgar Wright. I like the way he writes. I like the way he writes dialogue for characters and stuff. So, I like Edgar Wright. I like him a lot. If I had to list a movie that I like the least, would unfortunately have to be Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad movie, but just not all his movies I've seen so far.
I think you're wrong. I think Scott Pilgrim's one of his best movies.
Okay.
And you're wrong, and you smell funny. That's what
The Thing.
The Thing. But no, I love Edgar Wright. My favorite film by him is, and still is World's End, which I think is actually an unpopular opinion.
Yep.
Actually, Slash Film just published an article. One of the critics wrote his best film is World's End, and it's an unpopular opinion editorial. I love Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead was the first film I saw by him. I saw Hot Fuzz in every one of his films after Hot Fuzz I saw in theaters, and I've loved him each time I saw any of his movies. I think he's one of the best directors working in the business right now.
Yep.
And I still would like to see his version of Ant-Man. I think that movie probably was a lot better. Not that I think Ant-Man was a bad movie. I think it was actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
I just think that probably could have been really great.
Yeah.
Damn, that sucks. We didn't get to see that. But we got to see Baby Drive, which is the film he was working on after Ant-Man fell apart. And it tells the story of Baby. Baby is a getaway driver for Kevin Spacey plays Doc, and Doc is pretty much he's kind of the smart, savvy businessman who puts together bank heists, and he's kind of like Reservoir Dogs, where he hires a bunch of different criminals to pull off these heists, and that way people don't really know if they're connected. They can't really predict how the heists are going to go. The only thing that's consistent in these heists is the driver, and the driver is Baby. And Baby, when he was a kid, he was in a car accident, killed his parents, so now he has tinnitus, and he has a constant ringing in his ears.
So you watch Ron constantly going, Ma,
yeah,
Ma,
yeah, he just keeps
just
singing,
like Archer.
Yep, exactly.
Ma.
But to drown out the constant ringing, as you could see in the trailer, he friggin' listens to his music on his iPod. The guy walks around with like 5 iPods in his pockets because he has certain playlists. He does certain things. When he's walking around getting coffee, he has a playlist. If he's gonna pull a bank heist, he's got a playlist. So, but Baby, he doesn't carry a gun. He just drives. Hey, doesn't that sound familiar? It sounds like Drive.
I was saying, have you seen this movie before?
Yeah.
Didn't Jason Statham also do this movie?
I love Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright, minus Scott Pilgrim, Edgar Wright, his movies are always, let's take a genre or a specific type of movie, and then we're going to put it on its head. Shaun of the Dead was, let's take a zombie film, throw in a romantic comedy, and by the end of the movie, it just turns into a zombie film.
Right.
It still has a comedic ending, but it's the last act is very much a zombie film. The betrayal, people are turning on each other, people are dying. And same with Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz was action buddy cop movie, and it slowly progressed into, and at the end it turned into an action film. Still funny, but it turned into an action film. And that's what he does. This film it's not him turning it on its head. It's him doing the best version of kind of a tired idea. I'm one of those people that does think there's no original ideas out there for stuff. So yeah, we've all seen this movie. The quiet driver who doesn't want to use a gun, who's got one more job before he hangs it up, and you know things are going to go bad for him. And of course, he's got a girlfriend played by Lily Thompson, Deborah, and he, you know, of course he doesn't want her to get involved, but you know, obviously she's going to get involved because she's pretty, and pretty girls in these kind of movies always get the shaft. So I think this film is good. Is it 100% on Rotten Tomatoes good? No, I do not think that. I think it's very good, and I can't emphasize how good I think it is I just don't think it's great. And which sucks because I think a lot of Edgar Wright films are great. I think Shaun of the Dead is great. I think Scott Pilgrim's great, even though you don't think so, John, you're wrong. And I think World's End is great. Baby Driver's just good. It's like Hot Fuzz to me. It's really good. It does what it wants to do, and it does it well. And the reasons why I just think it's good is because of the main character. I hate Baby. And I know in the trailer they set up like the waitress Deborah asks him like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Baby." And I'm like, oh, this made me roll my eyes right away. And his name's not Baby. Spoiler for the movie. Everyone has code names. Nobody goes by their real name because it's like Mr. Pink, Mr. Blonde. Very Reservoir Dogs. And I'll be honest, the opening action sequence, the opening car chase, is great. It's all done practically. It's all real cars doing real stunt driving, and it's badass. It's some badass shit right there. The problem is the first act, you spend a lot of time with Baby. And Baby isn't particularly charismatic. He's not very interesting, minus the fact when he's behind a car. The girl he likes is really pretty, and that's pretty much it. Like, he's taking care of his foster, his adoptive father. Like he's just not a very interesting character. He just isn't. And Ansel Elgort as Baby, he doesn't really put much into it. I think he sometimes he has a southern accent, sometimes he doesn't. I don't really know if that was on purpose. I don't really get it. And honestly, he keeps dancing and moving because he's listening to music all the time, and he's just aggravating his shit. And there's a scene in the opening scene, John Bernthal, who plays Griff. He flat out asks like, is he friggin' retarded? And Kevin Spacey's like, well, it's in the trailer. He's like, what, was he slow? Because retarded means slow. Was he slow on the job? And he's like, no, he wasn't slow. Well, then he wasn't. But I think Baby's kind of retarded. I don't like the character. He does weird stuff, and I don't like it. And so the first like 20 minutes of the movie, I was not liking it. I didn't think it was bad. I was just like, this kind of looks like what the first trailer was going to offer me. I just wasn't liking this lead. Right. It's not really original. And then you get, after the first 20 minutes, and we get into the last job, and that's when the movie gets good. Because then you set up, they introduce Bats, who is played by Jamie Foxx, and Bats is fucking crazy. And
how's Jamie Foxx playing in Nutso?
Really good.
Really?
He's really good.
Now, you're not a fan of Jamie Foxx, right?
I do not like Jamie Foxx. If I were to blame anybody for why The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is really bad, for most people who think it's really bad, it's Jamie Foxx. The decision to cast Jamie Foxx as Electro was the worst decision ever. But Jamie Foxx is great in this. I've never hated a character more than I've hated him in that movie. John Hamm is Buddy, what's her name? Is it Rodriguez or Gonzalez?
Gonzalez.
Isla Gonzalez.
Isla Gonzalez.
She plays Darling, Buddy's wife.
I could watch her in a movie all day.
She's freaking evil and terrible. Buddy seems cool though. I like John Hamm. And there's like little cameos from Flea, from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and stuff like that.
Lily James is in it.
Yeah, Lily. Oh, that's her name. I keep saying Lily Thompson. It's Lily James plays his girlfriend, Deborah. So yeah, those characters are all charismatic. Same thing with Griff by John Bernthal. John Bernthal is great in everything, I think. Every time I see him, he's one of those guys that's really good. And yeah, he's one of those guys, like, you're around him, you're tense. You're like, this guy's off. Like, this is not good. But yeah, the last job kicks in. Then you start having characters start knowing stuff about each other. People start turning on each other. Twists start happening, and nothing's really different. Nothing's like breaking the mold of what these kind of movies are. But it's so well done, and you don't like Inglourious Basterds, John, right?
I like parts of Inglourious Basterds. You know what? I like Inglourious Basterds if it was like 2 different movies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would have been fine.
You liked Django Unchained, though, right?
I did like Django Unchained.
And one of the cool things in Django Unchained and Inglourious Basterds is the tension scenes.
Yeah.
There's always scenes where people are just sitting around a table and they're talking.
Yes.
And it's just building up and building up. And I like those movies, but Tarantino has a problem with maybe going a little too long with those scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay, we get it. It's tense. And if nothing's happened already, then nothing's really going to happen. So we need to move on, Tarantino. This movie does those scenes, but it doesn't do that. It doesn't go it went too long. No, it's like, okay.
So he does it right?
It does it right. Like, it's tense enough where it's like, whoa, I'm worried about this character right now. But it doesn't go, oh, okay, you're wasting my time here. It's not a 30-minute scene where the edges are you know, the tension's that bad. It knows what it's doing. And really the car chases are freaking great, man.
Really? So, because that's important. If you're a movie about a guy who drives cars, it's got to be amazing cars.
I like the action in Drive, but it's very art house,
right.
And it's not for everybody.
Right. This
is just straight up great action sequence, great car chases. There's a scene where, and it's cool. Is a mild spoiler. I'm not going to give you the context of it, but it's pretty clear. Baby, when he's behind the wheel, he's a god.
Right.
He can do anything. He can outrun copters. He can outrun all the cops. He's fine. There's a scene where, and you know this, as the audience, you're like, you know this guy's a god behind the wheel. So when he loses a car and he's on foot, you're like, oh shit, this is not good. And there's a foot chase where he's running around a mall, and it is tense, and you're like, shit, dude, they're gonna get your ass. And it's really good. I can't praise enough about Kevin Spacey's great as Doc. And there's a lot of really cool things too, where they set up a lot of the supporting cast, and you're like, well, I can't trust this person. Well, I can't trust this person. And then once the twists and turns happen in the film, certain characters that you thought you couldn't trust, you can trust, and characters that you thought you can't trust. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that. It's really, the movie's really, the focal point is the supporting cast.
Huh.
And that's really why I went to I think this film's actually pretty good. Is actually very good. It's because of the supporting cast.
Now, who do you think this film is for? Is it for just Edgar Wright films fans, or is it for people who love crime caper movies?
Yeah.
Do you think people the young generation who like the Fast and Furious would like this movie?
I think so. I think if you like Fast and Furious, you'll like this. It's different because it's not CG cars; it's real cars. Right. This is probably the most accessible Edgar Wright film. Like, I think that's maybe why I'm not the biggest fan of it. Is that, you know, the other Edgar Wright films feel like movies he made for me and then gave it to me. He's like, no one else is gonna see this.
You're one of those guys, huh? Like, I liked Blink-182 before they sold out and became famous. You're one of those guys.
No, what I'm saying is, like, if like, Scott Pilgrim's weird.
Right.
The fact that that movie got made is weird.
Right.
And same with Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead's a great movie, but it's a movie that you don't think would get made. Like, it's a movie that makes fun of zombie movies before zombie movies became popular again.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Before now, the fucking Walking Dead is everywhere. Yeah. You would expect, it makes sense to have a bunch of, this was before Zombieland too. Yeah. So, nobody talked about zombie movies anymore before Shaun of the Dead. So yeah, those movies, they're also comedies, like very, very much comedies. This isn't a comedy. There's funny scenes, but it is more of a action thriller. Yeah. I will say I like Edgar Wright a lot. I do think he's starting to have ending problems.
Really?
Yes. I love.
I didn't like the ending. I loved World's End, but I didn't like the very
The
end.
ending is a problem. And it's not that the ending, I think, is bad. It's just it goes on too long.
Yeah.
That scene, spoiler for World's End, but right when Simon Pegg's character, Gary King, says, I'm sorry, the movie should end. The emotional climax happened, cut to black. And it didn't, it just kept going, and you're like, well, I don't really need this. It's like,
well, I don't think you needed the scene they put in.
Yeah.
I think you can have a scene with them afterwards, what happens to them after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole thing, but yeah,
it's like,
the actual scene they have.
To me, it's like you finished a bowl of ice cream, and you're like, that was good. And then they're like, well, here's a second scoop. And you're like, well, I don't want this. I didn't order this. I don't need this.
Yeah.
I'll eat it because you gave it to me, but I don't want it, and you just feel awful. And this film does the same thing, where it's like, hey, here's the second scoop. And I'm like, I didn't order this. And it's fine for this movie, but I'm like, there's one shot where you could have just cut it right there. I'm like, that's a better ending.
Really?
Yeah.
It's hard though sometimes. It is hard to come up with a good ending. You know, it really is. I think sometimes it's hard to be like, okay, we went through this long ride with you. What's a satisfying ending? You think that's hard? What do you think's harder, getting the opening to get you pulled in, or ending it so you can say goodbye?
I think openings are easy.
Really?
I think openers are easy.
Okay.
It's like asking out a girl.
Yeah.
Opening's easy because you can say whatever you want. You could just be batshit weird, and you'll get an in. As long as you're interesting. Closing the deal and actually getting the digits, it's really hard. It's really fucking hard to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, honestly, I think, and that's one of those things too, where that's why a lot of people count World's End on the lower side, is because it ended weak, and you end weak. That's what you walk out of the theater with. Is that?
Yeah, that's true.
And honestly, hey man, I think when you really think about it, La La Land, it's a musical. Can you sing any of the songs in there?
No, I can't sing one song.
Yeah. You know why? Because the music here really isn't that memorable. Even though it's a musical.
Yeah.
None of the music is really that memorable. But everyone walked out of that theater loving it. Why? Because that ending is a fucking home run.
Yeah.
And as
it's
depressing, it's heartbreaking, but that ending is like, ooh man, I'm not going to forget that.
Yeah.
And not that this is... Same with Whiplash. Whiplash is great, and it's a lot of it's that ending. That ending is freaking swinging for the fences. So yeah, I think Baby Driver's great. It's apparently exceeding expectations.
Really?
It's
okay.
The budget's only $40 million.
Right.
Which is pretty tiny, especially for the cast they have for this. And it's Edgar Wright doing an American film.
Right.
Well, he did Scott Pilgrim also, but this is an American film with a bigger push. So I think it's going to make its money back. I think it made at least $20 million over the weekend or something like that. So it made half of its budget back. I think it's going to have good word of mouth, so it'll be good too. But I highly recommend it to you, John.
All right, I'll have to check it out then. All right.
Baby Driver.
Baby Drivers.
The soundtrack's really good too.
Really?
Because it's very much like a music video. It's like a 2-hour-long music video. Because it's him listening to music while doing jobs. And there's like scenes where something will go wrong, and he'll ask everyone, "No, you can't go into the bank yet. Let me restart the song." So he has to restart it because that's how he gets in the mode and stuff like that. So that's pretty fun. But
it's kind of like walking around to your own theme song.
Yeah,
basically.
It's just Ansel Elgort. It's got such a punchable face that you can't not.
If you could replace him with someone else,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
Would it improve the movie even more?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
He affected you that much?
Yeah, I don't like him. I don't think he's a very good actor. Also, I don't think the character's very well written.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, there you go. Baby Driver.
Baby Driver. I think it's really good. It's probably one of my favorite films of the year. Even though I'm bagging on it, I'm saying...
Still saying it's good though, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.